What do you think?
Well, listen, obviously I'm surprised, like everybody else. And as I sort of look forward and I think like what's going to happen next. Obviously, I mean, I haven't looked at those uncertainty indexes. I'm sure they're spiking. And the one thing that sort of struck me about Trump's speech was how much he talked about infrastructure spending.
Yes.
It wasn't a speech about tax cuts or deregulation or bond. It was about infrastructure spending. And I think that's what we're going to see. Among everything else, we're going to see a huge influx of fiscal stimulus. I think Trump, look, he puts his names on buildings. I think he wants to put his name on U.S. infrastructure. Listen, tax rates go up and down. Regulations are passed and repealed. Infrastructure is here for a long time. It's permanent. Trump seems to like it. And I think that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, I think two things you could sort of unmistakably say about Mr. Trump is he understands two things at least. One is building things. The other is the tax code.
Right. Right. So, listen, the Republicans have been talking a long time about business tax reform. And that's what I think we're going to get. There's two things I'm quite sure of, that they are going to pass big tax cuts, particularly on the business side. And we're going to get a whole bunch of infrastructure spending. So and I don't think they're going to worry about paying for it.
So what seems interesting here, and I think we're in a position where we all ought to sit back and kind of embrace it. People in the GOP for a long time have said we want less regulation, we want lower taxes, we want government out of the business of business. And now where you have a president from the GOP, a Senate, and a House, that whole hypothesis can be tested for all its potential and all its risks.
Partially. And I say partially because there's also the other half where Trump has promised to be quite interventionist, whether it's on trade, whether it's preventing companies or at least penalizing them from offshoring jobs, moving factories to other countries. There are threats. He's going to tell Apple, he's going to make Apple bring those jobs back home. That's very interventionist. So, in fact, a lot of these sort of the supply side economists have warned that whatever he's going to give you with the sort of the tax cuts and deregulation, he may take away with some of this other intervention.
James, what do you think happens in the House? Do you think Paul Ryan keeps his leadership position there? And will they act as a very serious check on Donald Trump? Or given that they're all from the same party, will he have more free reign than people might expect?
Listen, I don't think it's a done deal by any means that Paul Ryan remains Speaker of the House. There was a lot of back and forth between them during the campaign. Ryan was critical, and given the tone and tenor of the Trump campaign, especially regarding people who views as political enemies, it wouldn't surprise me if they wanted to replace Paul Ryan. If Paul Ryan stays, Paul Ryan is he's a free trader. He understands immigration's been good for America, so theoretically that could be a check. But Donald Trump is the president of the United States. He's one of the most stunning upset, perhaps, in American electoral history. He's going to have quite a bit of political capital, and I'm sure he'll spend it.
So many Americans, so much of the elite, so much of the media, so many people are just so surprised, I think shocked right now. It was the unthinkable that Donald Trump could be sitting in the Oval Office. How do you think that reverberates across Washington, in the Republican Party, in the Democratic Party, with President Obama, all across the nation?
It's going to be like a long funeral week after week as people try to get their mind around what they believe was an unthinkable scenario. I mean, obviously, people in both parties view him as everywhere from just extremely inexperienced for the office to those who think he's wildly unfit for the office, and he'll have to prove to them, perhaps initially through the kinds of advisors he picks to surround him. We'll see ultimately who he picks for Treasury, Secretary of State, Defense. Are these going to be reliable people that are known, that have great backgrounds, or are they going to be more on the sketchy side?